If everybody's ready, we'll get the meeting started this evening. If we can, we'll call the meeting to order. This is the May 15th meeting of the Jefferson City Planning and Zoning Commission. My name is Chris Jordan, and I am the vice chairman of the commission. Our chairman is going to be out tonight, Ralph Robinette, and I'll be stepping in his place. If we can, let's let the members introduce themselves. We'll start with the council.
Good afternoon. Carlos Graham, 4th Ward City Council.
Mike Lester.
Jack Deacon.
Bob George.
Dave Nunn.
Ann Strotman.
Chris Yarnell.
Dean Dutoy.
Ron Fitzwater.
Eric Barron, City Staff.
Janice McMillan, City Staff.
Jeremy Cover, Law Department.
All right, thank you. The city code authorizes 9 regular members and 3 alternates. Alternates are designated to vote upon absence or disqualification of a regular member. A quorum of 5 members or alternates is necessary to conduct business. I do know that Jack is going to be abstaining. As I mentioned, Ralph Robinette is not here tonight. Dale Vaughn is not here, as well as Kevin Thanen. So what does that do to us as far as... Okay. Ron, you get to vote tonight. It's your lucky night. All right. So everyone here tonight will be voting. So we declare that a quorum is present. The voting members will be as follows: Dean Dutoy, Bob George, Michael Lester, David Nunn, Chris Yarnell, Ron Fitzwater. Okay. Okay, we're going to call for cases. If someone from each case, and tonight we only have one case, if you just stand up and let us know that you're here and you're ready to present, and then we'll get ready for you. Case number P14007, 2725 Merchants Drive. We have a rezoning from M-2 to PUD and a preliminary PUD plan. Is there someone here that was going to represent that case? All right, thank you. We have no request for continuance. I'm assuming since you're all here, you're ready to proceed this evening. The format of the hearing, Eric, if you would, please read the format of the hearing and the order of testimony.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. I would like to briefly describe the procedures of the Planning Commission. The proceedings of the meeting are being recorded, so I ask that when you speak, please step to the microphone and give your name and address for the record. For each case, after a brief introduction by city staff, the applicant and applicant's consultants and advisors will explain the project, and the opening presentation shall be limited to 10 minutes, with an additional 3 minutes given for closing testimony if so requested. We will then ask to hear from any supporters of the request. We will then ask to hear from any opponents of the request, and we will then ask to hear from anyone else who wishes to speak on the request. And the testimony from supporters, opponents, or other interested parties shall be limited to 3 minutes, and rebuttal testimony limited to 5 minutes unless additional time is granted by the Commission. City staff will then describe the proposal and make their recommendations on the request. In order to reduce the time necessary to hear an application, reference to printed material, including the staff reports, applicable findings, ordinances, and our statutes, shall not be read into the record unless directed by the Commission. And the Commission will then close testimony from the floor. And the Commission will then discuss the proposal and then make a motion on the request. And the form of the motion shall be positive. That is, the motion shall be made to accept the request as presented or with modifications, stipulations, or conditions, and a final vote will then be taken ayes in favor and nays opposed. And the chairman shall announce the results of the vote, specifying the number of votes cast in favor and the number of votes cast against. And the following documents are entered as exhibits for all items under consideration at this meeting: the City Code as amended, the Comprehensive Plan and Land Use Map, copies of applications under consideration, a list of property owners to whom notices were sent, the affidavit of publication of the public notice in the newspaper, copies of drawings, plans, and or renderings under consideration, letters or memoranda from staff, the staff reports, the minutes of proceedings, letters, photos, memoranda, or other materials submitted by the public or the applicant, and the rules of procedure for the Jefferson City, Missouri Planning and Zoning Commission. And these items are all public record and are available for inspection in the Department of Planning and Protective Services or through the Office of the City Clerk. And please be advised that any items that are presented or otherwise received pertaining to the cases under consideration become the property of the Commission. This includes any photographs, drawings, renderings, petitions, and letters. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. With all that information, we only have the one agenda item this evening. So if I can I have a motion to adopt the agenda as printed? Got a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Next, we need to work on the approval of the minutes from the April 10th meeting. We can take just a minute if anyone has anything they'd like to have changed or amended. And when you all are ready, we can move with a motion.
I'd move we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. We do have one letter of correspondence this evening for the case P14007 that was distributed tonight to all the council members. Hopefully you've had a minute to look at that. It's from Mr. Casey with Cole County Residential Services. I knew I was going to say that wrong. Thank you. So, I think everybody's had a chance to look for that. With that being said, we will introduce case number P14007, 2725 Merchants Drive. It's a rezoning from M-2 to PUD and a preliminary PUD plan. Eric, if you'd like to tell us a little bit about it.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chairman. First, to orient you to the location of this request, up on the screen is a location map and with the zoning overlaid on top of it. You'll notice the intersection of Truman Boulevard and Industrial Drive and Highway 179. They're toward the top of the screen. So traveling south on Highway 179 a short distance, you'll see Merchants Drive coming off of that. And this particular property is located on Merchants Drive. The zoning of the property is currently M2, which is general industrial, and has been that way for many years. This is a little bit closer of an air photo of the property. And it used to be the state printing lab, for those of you that are familiar. The state printing lab, I think, moved out of that building, half a decade ago or so. And the building was actually connected with its neighboring building, and the state printing lab operated both of them together. The buildings, there actually is a property line that separates those two buildings, and they've been sold off independently, so there are two separate property owners there. But this one is the subject of tonight's meeting, located there. The request is for two things. One, a rezoning to PUD, and then a PUD plan. The goal of the applicant is what they want to do is mix two uses, an adult daycare and a more traditional use of the M2 district, more of a distributing warehouse type system with associated offices together in that building. Well, it turns out that those two uses are not listed as being permitted within the same zoning district. So there's really no conventional zoning category that could accommodate both of those uses as a permitted use together. So in order to remedy that, really their best option was to pursue a PUD plan in order to propose these two types of uses. Within your packets, I think there's a floor plan of what showing the internal layout of what it is that they would like to do, and that's also shown up on the screen. The area that's highlighted in yellow is the portion of the existing building that they would like to occupy as an adult daycare. The remainder of the building is undergoing significant construction work, in order to turn it into an office, warehouse distributing type medical supply company. And I do have one photo of the building. As with photos in this room, sometimes they don't show up very clear, but this is a straight shot of the front of the building. And really, I think the previous uses in the building have relied on a single door located right there. And this proposal would put a second doorway in the building somewhere over here. It's kind of shown on the floor plan. As an access for the adult daycare portion of the business. So basically, they'd be dividing it up into multiple units. That is a fairly simple description of what it is they're proposing. Again, it's a rezoning to PUD, and then a PUD plan that really just consists of the text of their plan, which is to allow those two different types of use in the existing building. I'd be happy to answer any initial questions you may have.
Thank you, Eric. Yes. Huh? Yes, go ahead.
Did you get any response at all from the local residents out there that are involved in this particular area?
No, I received one phone call from a neighborhood representative, but they did not submit in any correspondence. But they are aware of the proposal.
Thank you.
One of our commission members has shown up, Bunny Tricky Cotton. If you want to come on up and sit with the rest of us, and I think you've been here for the introduction and all that, so I think it'd be appropriate for you to vote tonight. So if you wouldn't mind, that'd be great. Any other commissioners have any questions for staff, for Eric or anyone that's here tonight? All right, seeing none. Whoever is present for this case, if you'd please come to the microphone, give your name and address for the record, and tell us what you want to do.
My name is Danielle Schwartz. My address is 1908 Whitney Woods Drive, Jefferson City, 65101.
Is there anything that you'd like to add about what you all have proposed before us today?
I do. I'd like to describe how this came about. I am a speech pathologist, and I own a therapy company called Speakeasy. I specialize in providing therapy services to adults and children with developmental disability. A developmental disability is when someone is born with a disability or suffers a disability in childhood. So some examples would be autism, cerebral palsy, some kind of syndrome. Through my practice, I have seen a growing need in this community for a day service that provides care for adults with disabilities during the day, and at the same time, they can receive their therapy services on site and real job training. And that's what we're trying to do with Day Solutions inside this building on Merchants Drive. My partner, Jason Forrest, owns Rehab Specialty Medical. It's a medical supply company, and he's purchased this building on Merchants Drive. What we would like to do is, would it be possible to put the floor plans up? So looking at the building floor plan, the offices on the front right of the building will house Rehab Specialty Medical and Speakeasy offices. Along the back is a large warehouse, and then in the middle, in yellow, is Day Solutions with its own separate entrance. The front left will be a showroom. And the unique and special thing about this building and all of these businesses being in one building is that the clients at Day Solutions will receive their care during the day. They'll also receive therapy services on site, and there'll be real opportunities for job training. So they will be able to, in the offices, do office work, some filing. Along the back in the warehouse, there'll be stocking of shelves, an assembly line to put together first aid kits. The showroom, once it's up and ready, there'll be interaction with the public. They'll learn how to use the cash register. We will be licensed through the Department of Mental Health. I will be the director. I've already taken and passed 2 tests with the Department of Mental Health. They are on board with our plan, and we are moving forward with licensure. We have received an overwhelming amount of support from the community. I get emails each week from social workers and parents of adult children with developmental disability asking if their child can be placed on our waiting list and when we can open. We are very excited about what we have to offer this community and hope that you see the potential in that. Do you have any questions for me? Yes.
It sounds like a great idea. What happens if it goes even better than you're expecting? How will you expand the adult care portion of that? Can you go back or?
No. We will be licensed for up to 24 individuals only, and we plan to only start with 12 to 15 until we feel comfortable with what we're doing, and then we will add more. But the license will only be for 24 individuals. If it goes well, which we're hoping that it will, then we will look for a second location.
Is there any other questions by the commissioners? Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to come up regarding this request? Okay. Is there anyone that would like to speak in opposition to this request? Seeing none. Seeing that, we will now close testimony. Does anyone want to speak in favor of the request? Okay, we see none with that. Okay, so now we'll close testimony. Jim, you want to come up? Okay. Jim, if you would, state your name and address for the record.
I'm Jim Casey. I live at 1112 Memorial Drive in Jefferson City with Cole County Special Services. One of the benefits of being deaf is that you can't hear city council people or planning and zoning commissioners when they talk. I didn't know you were calling for this. We're very much in favor of this. Would love to see this zoning request granted. A very real issue is there is a strong push for getting people employed, and no longer are we going to be able to consider a sheltered workshop as a permanent employment. And so any program that emphasizes employing people with disabilities is something we would like to see more of. So anyway, we're asking the commission to please grant the request. Thanks.
Thank you, Jim. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the request, either for or against? Okay, seeing none. We will close testimony. Eric, if you'd like to give a staff report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think I went over it quite a bit earlier, but to zoom back out to the bigger picture here, looking at the what I kind of refer to as the Plaza Metro Merchants Drive area, it used to actually all be zoned M2 is kind of a holdover from the previous zoning code where commercial uses were permitted in the manufacturing district. I remember when I started here 6 years ago, almost 7, one of the first cases that I brought forward was a rezoning of at least the north half of this area to a C2 district, but it's always been kind of a mix of uses. Very close to this particular use, although I believe it has closed for business, but just in the recent past was a child daycare center located there on Highway 179 in a building. Again, I think they've closed, but it shows that you don't have to go very far before you do see a real daycare business within this area. So an adult daycare business really is not out of place, I would say. It's just a matter of the way that the zoning code is structured that prevents them from being able to pursue this in a traditional zoning manner. So a rezoning to a PUD district in order to allow this very specific mix of uses is something that we believe is appropriate for this area. And staff is in support of the proposal. I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you may have.
Eric, I have 2 questions for you. One is, do we not need, or have we not in the past when we do a PUD put a zoning district classification as kind of that underlying district? And in this case, can we not do that because of the different uses? Or
and actually, thank you. I did pass over that. The underlying zoning is meant to be an M2 general industrial district, the same zoning as it is right now, so that not only would all the traditional uses within the M2 district be permitted for this site, in addition to an adult daycare, but also the signage and lighting and other matters would look toward the M2 district.
As a part of our recommendation tonight, should we state that we're doing an underlying of M2?
Well, it is.
So that down the road, the applicants don't have a gray area and have to come back and say, well, this is what was said. Do we need to get black and white?
Certainly we can do that, and that would make it very clear that an underlying...
From your position as staff, is that district going to get you where you need to be?
Yes.
Okay. my next question, and I think you helped me with this last month, but we are doing a preliminary PUD plan. The applicants will not come back to us with a final plan as long as when they get you the final plan as staff, and it is very, very similar to what we see tonight, then we will not see them again, correct?
That's correct. The final PUD plan is reviewed and approved administratively as long as it's in conformance with the preliminary plan approved through planning and zoning and the city council. In this case, with no site improvements being proposed, it's really a set of building plans.
Last, and then I'll see if anyone else has any questions for you. Are you wanting this in the form of two separate motions?
Yes, they are two separate items.
Okay. I think that answers what I have. Does anyone else have any questions for staff? Seeing none, we will move forward. If someone would like to make a motion on the rezoning and then a separate motion on the PUD plan.
I'll move that we approve the request to rezone the property from M2 to PUD with underlying zoning of M2.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Next, we will move on to the preliminary PUD plan.
I'll move that we approve the preliminary PUD plan.
Have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Eric, the applicants will go before City Council, correct?
That is correct. This item will be before the City Council in the form of a public hearing on June 16th. That meeting takes place at 6 o'clock in this room.
Okay, thank you. Okay. With that being said, we will move on to other business. Michael, do you have any reports for us from the environmental quality?
At our meeting, we continue to work on the Baker Mark educational and promotional recycling campaign, and I drew the short straw, and I'm chairman of the commission now.
Well, congratulations. As always, we appreciate you spending your time there and in addition to this commission, so thank you. All right, is there any other items that we have before us tonight, anything we need to discuss? Do I need a motion for an adjournment? Do we have a motion for adjournment? And a second. All in favor? Very good.